Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi, Cheryl Arkle. We're back. It's Thursday. It's 2 o'clock, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it's What Are You Reading? So this is a segment that I know so many of you enjoy. I'm by myself because Sydney is in lockdown. Hi, Natalie. And Jane is at home in Bondi. So you've just got me today. But I have got the best stack of books. So you've got me and you've got a plethora of great stories. So you know how this works. We'll tell you what we're reading, what I'm reading, and you tell us what you're reading. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook segment. For those of you in Sydney that are in lockdown, I hear you. I'm the same. It's really tough being in lockdown on your own. And so I hope that you're all keeping well and staying positive and hopeful and being masked up and staying home and getting vaccinated. Okay, all right, that's me. That's enough of my lecturing for the day. Now I'm going to get onto some really good books. Tell me what you're reading. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Corinne. And I'm going to tell you what we're reading. I'm going to start with Book of the Week, James Phelps. You'll know him. He's a non-fiction writer, and I think he was also a journalist. This is called The Inside Man. It's our book of the week this week. And I spoke to him recently. I recorded a podcast with him. This is fiction, and it's about a character called Riley, who's in prison, and he can't remember what he's in prison for. He can't remember having committed the crime. This is really gritty. It's gripping. But what I was saying earlier, James has spent not time in prison, but he's spent a lot of time through his non-fiction writing talking to people in prison, and he has a real understanding, and that really comes out in the book. It's a really compelling book. Highly recommend it. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know if you've read any of his previous books as well. Okay, so there's so many of you that have just jumped on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love to see all your Facebook faces, if you like. So Alita says hi. Hi, Alita. Hi, Yvonne. Helen says, hi, Cheryl. I'm reading Snowy Mountain's Daughter by Alyssa Callan, and I'm really enjoying it. That's great. Nicole, hi, Nicole, to you. She's reading Billayaran Dugland Hurrah by Anita Heiss. You know, you remember, Nicole, I probably talked about that because I actually was lucky enough to go to the launch, one of the launches of that book. And there was so many Aboriginal elders there. And of course, Anita Heiss was there. And also some of the descendants of the characters in the book were there. It was such a wonderful experience. Barb, hi. She's just purchased the Michael Robotham. Okay, that's a segue. I'm going to see if I can find it. There's a new Michael Robotham coming up. Okay. Now, I don't know where Jane is. She reckons I'm hopeless at segues, but I reckon that was a good segue. Hey, this is brand new. When You Are Mine. It's Book of the Week next week. We're going to talk about it more, but it's just out now. So, Barb, which Michael Robotham did you get? Obviously, well, you might have got the new one as well. Anyway, that's out now. Okay, Carolyn, I'm reading Talking to My Country by Stan Grant for book club. I mean, I just love that guy. Do you know I recorded such a powerful podcast with him recently, and one that I went back and listened to again recently just because I love to hear him talk. He's just a wonderful speaker, so articulate, and he's got a great mind. Okay, Dixie. Oh, Dixie says we're in lockdown in WA as well. Well, we feel for you, Dixie. So are we. So I guess there are a few states in lockdown. Yeah, you're right. I hope you're keeping well, Dixie. Jessie, hi. Donna, hi, Donna. Hope you guys are okay. We are okay. We're not in the office, which is why Jane's not here. It's just me today, and I've got Rose in a mask sitting all the way over there. So we're keeping to the COVID rules. So we are okay, and thanks for asking, Donna. Donna is reading Mirror Man by Fiona McIntosh, which we talked about last week. Hi, Mary. Suzanne's reading The Soul of a Woman by Isabella Allende. I spoke to her on a podcast too about that book. I really enjoyed it. I read that book in audio. Because she is reading it, and I just enjoyed it so much. I love audiobooks. Melissa, hi. Can't decide what to read. I'm in Sydney, worrying times. They are, Melissa. Now, if you can't decide what to read, there will be a book in this pile for you today. Okay, so stay with us and we'll find you something. Hey, now who watched Alice last night? Alice Pung, wasn't she wonderful? 100 Days. This is her new book. She was with us last night on Facebook Live. Don't forget Facebook Live, where we chat with an author chats with you once a week at 8 p.m. And this is set during the 80s in working class Melbourne. 100 Days. It's a kind of a fractured fairy tale that explores mother-daughter relationships, identity, class and race. Really beautiful read. She's such a lovely writer. Okay, and that was last night. And thank you for all of you who joined the event and asked all your wonderful questions. Okay, what else have we got? Alison, hi. Malvina, hi. No, I've just lost my spot. Let me just find my spot. I will get there. I can't throw it over to Jane while I'm trying to find my spot, but I will find it. Here we go. Yes, it's a foggy day, Malvina, and I'm reading a forward copy of Under the Milky Way by Vanessa Barneveld. Totally unexpected and terrific. Oh, wonderful. So that must be an advanced copy. Is that part of our preview program? Linda, hi Linda, With My Little Eye by Sandra Hogan is what she's reading. Alita, I'm reading Falling by TJ Newman, brilliant read, isn't it a wonderful read? Wynne is reading We Were Not Men, so far an excellent book. Oh gosh, I spoke to him recently. What's his name? Campbell, it's Campbell Mattinson. And I had such a wonderful conversation with him. The podcast is not out yet, but listen to it, it's wonderful. Now, speaking of podcasts and wonderful writers, this is debut fiction. It was our book of the week a couple of weeks ago. It's called The Other Black Girl, and it's by Zakiya Dalila Harris. Now, do you know this young girl lives in Brooklyn in the US? She is joining us next Wednesday night, Facebook Live, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be 6 a.m. in Brooklyn. And she's getting up to speak with you. So please join us next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. These events are always so special, but this is particularly special because she's making a huge effort to chat with you, to take your questions, to talk about the book. And I tell you what, you will love her. She's gorgeous, she's young, she's smart, and she's got a great sense of humour as well. I just enjoyed my chat with her so much. Okay, so that's coming up next week. Mary is reading The Drop-Off on audio. Tracy, hi Tracy, she's reading The Happiest Man on Earth by Eddie Jacques. Jane is hi Cheryl and Jane. Jane's at home, she's probably watching. I'm reading The Party by Robin Harding. Stay safe. Thank you, Jane, and you too. Jenny just finished reading Unorthodox by Deborah Feldman. Rebecca, Love Objects by Emily Maguire, who we love. And you all know, I'm not going to say it, that I do Pilates with Emily every Friday. I just said it. Kylie, hi Kylie. Kylie's currently reading Something Like This by Carly Lane, who we adore, Carly Lane. Jan reading The Great Southern Land by Mary Ann O'Connor. Segue. Mary Ann O'Connor. Sisters of Freedom is her latest book. I recorded a podcast with her a couple of weeks ago. Really gorgeous woman, as you can imagine. She talked a lot about the writing process, doing the research, particularly when you're looking at historical fiction. And that podcast is out now, so jump on and have a look, have a listen. And Sisters of Freedom is a wonderful book, because I know that because we loved it, and I know a lot of you loved it. Now, listen, regarding podcasts, I think we're going to put up our little podcast thing. Please remember to review us. Go onto the Apple link and tell us why you love listening to them, and give us a star rating, because that really kind of takes us up in the ranking. Many of you have, and thank you to those who have. I really appreciate it. Okay, Dixie is... Where am I? That was my Mary Ann O'Connor segue. Carol is reading and enjoying The Foundling by Stacey Halls. Dixie is reading an old one by Lisa Ireland, Feels Like Home, and listening to The Bookshop of the Brokenhearted. So you do two at a time. Hey, listen, I was going to ask you a question. Yesterday, somebody interviewed me about my job, and they asked me who my 5, well, let's say 3 They asked me 5, but I'm going to ask you 3. Who are your 3 favourite Australian writers? Now, it doesn't have to be of all time, but let's say in the last couple of years, who are the 3 favourite Australian writers? Tell me, okay? Because I want to see how close they are to what I chose, okay? All right, now, I shouldn't be talking about this now because it's too early, but remember Kyle Perry, remember The Bluffs. I know you do because we all read it and loved it. Now, The Bluffs was his first book and it was released in COVID last year. I think it was June. He did a wonderful live event for us when one of the Wednesday nights. And remember, his cat jumped up and sat on his lap. Anyway, that book did really, really well. It was his first book, debut fiction, and this is his second book. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because it's coming up and it's going to be our book of the week, but I want you to know that it's out now. I also want you to know that lovely Kyle talked about us in the acknowledgements, and I'm just going to read it to you just really quickly, and it just kind of brought me to tears. I spoke to him this morning. I recorded a podcast with him and he told me, and he says, Cheryl Arkle and the team at Better Reading, receiving that groundswell of support from you and your community. So he's talking about you guys, right? You are the people, the readers. At the very beginning of my journey went a long way to making me feel like I'd finally arrived, and I am forever grateful for such a beginning to being an author. So that's a thank you to me and to my wonderful team, but it's also a thank you to you, the reader, who really supported Kyle with The Bluffs, and his new book, The Deep, is out. Okay, so that's given me goosebumps again. I mean, I just love acts of kindness like that, don't you? Okay, tell me three favourite Australian writers at this time. You don't have to go way back. You don't have to, just 3 that come to your head. Samantha, Too Much Lit by Melissa Luchenko is what Samantha's reading. Sharon is reading The Missing Pieces of Sophie McCarthy by B.M. Carroll, really enjoying it and nearly finished it. Jane, that's an excellent book. It's Cheryl, Jane's at Home. Janine, hi Janine, love the Good Wife of Bath. Alona just finished The Covered Wife, very well written and so compelling. Now reading A God in Ruins by Kate Atkins for First Book Club. Do you know what? I love Kate Atkinson. Sorry, I love Kate Atkinson. I had lunch with her a couple of years ago, and she is really the most wonderful writer, but just so down to earth and so accessible, and we had a fabulous lunch. Anyway, there you go. That was back in the days where she could travel and I could go out to lunch. Those days are gone. Now, Debbie, I think there's a typo there, but again, another segue. The Dressmaker of Yarrandara, is that what you're reading? I'm not quite sure, but anyway. Oh, you could be reading the Anita Heights, but I am going to talk about this, The Dressmaker of Yarrandara Prison by Meredith Jaff. This is such a lovely read. I really like this. I like the premise of the book, the fact that, the men's prison, what happens is this guy is in prison and he can't attend his daughter's wedding, so they decide to make the dress. So that's this book. It's really well written. It's a beautiful story and I highly recommend it. And the podcast is out now with Meredith. Okay, what else have we got? Cassie, I'm reading The Enemy Within by Tim Aleph. Oh, my God, so many segues. Tim Aleph is coming up. I don't have his book. I was emailing him last night, actually. Tim Aleph does have a new book coming out, so we can't wait for that. Okay, and I'm so pleased, Cassie, that you enjoyed The Silent Listener. No, and that's by Lynn Yowitt. Gosh, you're reading too. Okay, Emma, just finished You Need to Know by Nicola Moriarty, an absolute page turner. Isn't she a wonderful writing? That family is so talented. Teresa's reading Blackberry Wine by Joanne Harris, one of my favourite authors. I love the combination of fiction and food. Ebony, hi, put this book on my TBR list today. Sounds wonderful. Currently reading Edward Rutherford's latest epic, China, and really enjoying it. That is a brick of a book, Ebony. I'm so pleased you're enjoying it. Nicole, wonderful book and a wonderful interview you conducted with Anita. Thank you, Nicole. I enjoyed it very much. The Godmother by Monica McInerney, loving it. We love Monica. Sue is reading Hamnet and thoroughly enjoying it. Zah is currently reading Hangman by Stephen Tulty. I don't know it, but I'm sure you're enjoying it. Steve, currently reading The Mystery of Babylon, the second time I'm going over it. Well, that's good. Again, I was talking to somebody about that the other day, it's so sometimes you read books that you love, like, once every couple of years, or the person I was talking to was reading, would go back to a book once a year. Jane's with us, rocking the segue, Cheryl. Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing a good job of it today. I am missing you though, Jane. Jane is with us via comments, but she's, obviously not in the office. Yvonne, about to read The Thursday Murder Club. Barb, she has a lot. Just bought When We Are Mine. Oh, that's the Michael Robotham. Going to make a cuppa and start. Okay. If you're making a cuppa, Barb, I wouldn't mind a coffee with milk. That would be lovely. Helen, what are you reading? First of Nicholas I've read, won't be the last. Helen's doing that. I can't see the rest of the message. Mary loves listening to audio. So do I. Karen, great segue. Thank you, Karen. I'm reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Heard your podcast with Matthew and Stan and enjoyed both. Thank you, Karen. And please write us a review if you enjoyed them, because, it pushes us up the ranking. Okay, now I want to talk about Lapsed. I spoke to Monica Dux a couple of weeks ago about this book. It's about her growing up Catholic and then really becoming a lapsed Catholic or an atheist. So many stories. I had great fun with her. It's kind of our religious trajectories were very similar. Very well thought of book, and really great read. Lots of humour in it as well, and of course a lot of serious stuff. But the podcast is out now. Listen to it. It's really, really good. Okay, what else have I? Oh gosh, I spoke to Nicola West, Catch Us the Foxes. I spoke to her yesterday, I think, recorded a podcast. Isn't this a wonderful cover? I just love this cover. And she has written this brilliant book, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But what I wanted to let you know is that next Friday, not tomorrow, is that right, Rose? Not tomorrow, but the following Friday? Yes. Give me the date. That would be great. Not tomorrow, the following Friday she's going to be with us live, 12 o'clock. What's the date of the following Friday, Rose? Okay. The 9th of July. Okay, so join us, 9th of July, 12 o'clock. So the Friday live sessions are at midday and the Wednesday sessions are at 8 p.m. Okay, all right. Now, this is, it's called Hell of a Book by Jason Mont, and it is a hell of a book. It's a really unusual book, but quite quirky, but very, very enjoyable. It's powerful, it's funny, it gets to the heart of racism in the United States, and it's about an author who's written one hell of a book. And yeah, it's really, really cute. Read it, love it. Bianca, if you're watching, I think you would like that one. Okay, what else have we got? Kaz is reading Other People's Houses by Kelly Hawkins. Linda, hello. And Linda says hi to Rose. You're in lockdown too, about to start Good Indian Daughter. Wonderful. And just finished Hell of a Book, which was a stunning read. Oh my God, what a segue that was. That was almost a coincidence segue. I hadn't seen your comment. There you go. Mahmood is, hello Cheryl, it's nice to be with us. Thank you, Mahmood. Obviously you're a new person to us, which is lovely. Welcome. Mary, I need to catch up on Alice video. Okay, what have we got here? Jill, have just finished The Last Guest by J.P. Pomeroy and about to start When Things Are Alive, They Hum by Hannah Bent. Now, is that the preview book? Oh, both are preview copies, thanks to better reading. I hope you enjoy those, Jill. Two really good ones. Now, speaking of new books, guess who's got a new one? So the author of Boy Swallows Universe, Trent Dalton, has a new book coming in November, and I think Dex is going to put it up on screen for us. There it is. It's called Love Stories. Can you see that by Trent? Now, this is a collection of stories, musings, conversations. Trent actually went out, because, you know, he's a journalist, but he just went out onto the street and he spoke to people about love. And this is going to be that collection. It's out in November. We absolutely can't wait. I think he's a beautiful, I mean, if you've follow his journalism, you'll know that he's a wonderful non-fiction writer as well. So that's coming out in November, and we're really super excited about it. Adriana is reading something. That's just flicked to the top of the page. Sorry, Adriana, I will get you back. Let me just find you. Let me. And while I'm doing that, let me see if I can multitask a little bit here. I can't. So I've lost you, Adriana. You might want to type that in there because I've just lost my spot completely and I can't seem to find it to get back. And I feel as though I'm wasting everybody's time. No, I'm back. Adriana, I found you. She's reading 1Q48 by Haruki Murakami, and it's amazing. Dex, who's with us at home today, that's one of his favourite authors. Kathy, hi Kathy, is currently reading The Model Wife by Tricia Stringer. We love Tricia and enjoying it. Chin up everyone in lockdown. Thanks, Kathy. Carolyn, really enjoyed Alice Pung. So interesting. She was marvellous. She really was. And thank you, Carolyn, for watching. Michelle is reading an older Jodi Picoult book, Salem Falls. I bought this one from Lifeline Book Fest. You know what we say here, Michelle? We say it all the time. It's new until you've read it. Felicity just finished Love Objects by Emily Maguire. Well, we love her. Hi, Emma. Jessie, Cheryl, currently reading The Vet from the Snowy River by Stella Quinn. Sue is reading The Ruin by Dervla McTiernan. We love Dervla. Edith is reading Beyond Alice by Tanya Heaslip. Lee is reading Road Trip by Beth O'Leary, really enjoying it. Jenny, hi Jenny. Jenny saying hi to Jane and Rosie. It's in lockdown in Perth as well. Reading Not Dark Yet by Peter Robertson. It's very good. Okay, stay safe, Jenny. Emma, cannot wait. This is so awesome. Definitely going to tune in. Good, thank you. Sherry is reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's very profound and thought-provoking. Thank you. Monica, The Warsaw Orphan by Kelly Rimmer. We'll be following her from now on. Claire is joining us via YouTube. Hi, Claire. And just know that, you know, this segment is live on YouTube as well, is reading The Other Side of Beautiful by Kim Locke. Mary, absolutely loved your podcast with Ruhi Lee, author of Good Indian Daughter, which I'm loving. Yeah, that was a really good podcast. She was great. She made me giggle so much, but really serious topic. If you love our podcast, don't forget, please go and click on the link and review our route. Actually, what I'm going to do is get Rose to put the link, the Apple link, in comments, and then that'll make it really easy for you to review. Shreem is reading Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton. Fantastic. Well, he's got the new one coming out, Love Stories, in November. Donna's reading Love Sisters of Freedom. Emma currently reading Last Night by Mahiria McFarland. Annie, Beneath a Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan, enjoying both. Leanne reading Lisa Wingate at the moment. Is there any way to review on Spotify? Emma, I don't know, but we will find out. That's a job for Dex, actually. Dex, can you please find out if there's any way to interview on Spotify? Sue, hi, Cheryl. Just started reading The Last of the Apple Blossom by Mary Lou Stevens. Really good page turner so far. Kylie, she has the book, one of the books that I've been talking about. Claire, I'm reading The Other Side of Beautiful by Kim Locke. That's a really beautiful title, isn't it? Felicity, can really recommend Your Own Kind of Girl by Claire Bowditch on audio. So moving and so funny. And I bet you she's reading it herself. Is Felicity, is she reading it? Natalie just finished George Orwell's 1984. Well, that's an oldie. And now I'm reading something lighter, The Ones You Trust by Caroline Overington. We love Caroline. She's a really great writer. Caroline is also the editor of The Australian, which reminds me, so she's the editor, not of The Australian, of the review section in the books in The Australian. Don't forget, we are in The Australian. It's called Notable Books, and we're in there every single week. Now, speaking of favourite authors, Mary said Rachel Johns is a favourite. Helen is reading You Need to Know by Nicola Moriarty. What have we got? Donna, Michael Rowbotham. So Donna's telling us what her top three are at the moment. Michael Rowbotham, Fiona McIntosh and Natasha Lester. 3 is tough. Come on, tell me why. Oh, Ebony, Anna Funda. Gosh, I love Anna Funda. Do you know I recorded a podcast with Anna Funda during lockdown? Go find it because it was incredibly interesting. She's wonderful. So Ebony's reading, Ebony's favourite Australian writers at the moment are Anna Funda, Trent Dalton and Sophie Laguna, 3 great ones. Kylie has got 2, Rachel Johns and Carly Lane. Elaine Mitchell. Carol says Elaine Mitchell has to be my favourite Australian author. Dixie, can't wait for the Kyle Perry to hit the stores. We can't wait either. Now, listen, I want to talk about this. This was a really interesting book. Well, also a very interesting chat, A Father's Plea. You might have seen him. He's been Kamal Debussy. He's been on television. His daughter, Mariam, is one of the ISIS brides. Apparently there's 20 Australians in a refugee camp in Syria. And Miriam got involved with a fellow that led her to being an ISIS wife. And what Kamal is doing, this is his story about trying to get Mariam back and the other 19 girls that are there back to their homes in Australia. It's a very interesting subject. Nothing is clear cut. Have a read of the book, but also the podcast. We released it the other day. Jane said that she felt that I was hard on him. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think next week if you haven't listened to it. I asked him a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions, and I think you would too. I mean, it's such an interesting situation. Anyway, that podcast is out now, and I'll get Rose to put the link in so you can see it in comments. Okay, Keisha, The Mad Woman's Ball, bestseller in France, all about women who were locked up in an asylum. Most had suffered at men's hands. Yeah, absolutely, I can imagine. Thank you for that recommendation. Cassie, my top 3, Michael Robotham, Candice Fox and Rachel Johns. Okay, Yvonne's top 3 are Rachel Johns, Carly Lane, Lisa Ireland, and so many others. Tracy's Tabitha Bird, Trent Dalton, Marcus Zuzak. Jan loved it too. I'm not sure what she's talking about. She's talking to Donna. Helen loves Michael Robotham, great writer. We loved Michael. Annie currently reading The Godmothers and listening to Beneath the Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan, enjoying both. Linda, my favourite Aussie writers are Trent Dalton, Tim Winton and Tabitha Bird. Wow, I think that there's a couple reappearing authors in different threes. Really interesting. Thank you so much. Loving that topic. My favourite Australian authors are from Jessie, Fleur MacDonald, Rachel Johns and Anita Heiss. Sue's favourite author is Liz Bursky. Oh, Linda, does that make it a 4th? She's also putting in Alan Carter for thrillers. I love Alan Carter. I interviewed him quite a few years ago. I think he lives in Western Australia. Anyway, great conversation. Robert Still by Matt Nabel. I've got to say, I agree with you. Really wonderful book. It has been compared to The Dry by Jane Harper, but really I think he's a really lovely writer, and as we know, he's also an actor. Karen, 2 favourite Australian authors, Fiona McIntosh, Natasha Lester. Emma, favourite Australian authors, Holden Shepherd, Jane Harper and Leonie. Emma, another Emma, Tingay, Trent Dalton, Anna Funda and Belinda Alexandra. Janine, Trent Dalton, Marcus Zuzak and Jane Harper. I love how the same names are coming up, but they're all, mixed up. Oh, fantastic. Gail is reading, favourite authors, Tia Cooper, Fiona McIntosh, Natasha Lester. Mary is Rachel Johns, Carly Lane, Fiona McCallum. Alison can't possibly name only 3. Give it a go. Just give it a go. Natalie Burke, Ruth Park, Kate Morton, Natasha Lester. Wow, all Aussie authors. Love Ruth Park too. Karen, Monica McInerney is her favourite. Annie, Dervla McTiernan, Michael Robotham, Christian White, all wonderful, absolutely all wonderful. And even though Dervla's from Ireland, she's living in Western Australia, so we'll own her as well, right? Alona, Jane Harper, Pip Williams and Josephine Moon and so many more. There are so many great Australian writers. I agree. And so you imagine how hard it was for me the other day just to list 5. Mary really enjoyed Dressmaker on audio, and that was the book that we talked about earlier. What else am I going to talk about? Oh, the last book I'm going to talk about is The Paris Affair by Pip Drysdale. Pip. I think this is her 3rd book. It's based in Paris. It's an aspiring author. Harper Brown is hot on the trail for a murderer if the killer doesn't catch her first. And, you know, Pip is a wonderful Australian writer, and this is her third book, and it's been out for a little while. Okay, let me get through these and then we've got to go. Malvina, 3 favourite Australian writers, gosh. Okay, Craig Silvey, hard to compress a list to only 3. Jane Harper, oh, come on. Oh, and Annie Gracie. So Annie Gracie, Craig Silvey and Jane Harper. Rita is reading The Last Reunion by Kate Nunn. Have really enjoyed her book. She's really a lovely writer. This one has brought to mind The Hair with Amber Eyes by Edmund de Waal and my first exposure. Oh, wow, this is really good. Monica, Kate Grenville, yes, she's up there. Fiona McIntosh and Belinda Alexandra. So Fiona McIntosh has come up a couple of times. So is Belinda Alexandra. Kate Grenville, that's the first. Donna, she's adding Matthew Riley and Jane Harper. Donna, you're not allowed to add. That's cheating. Michelle, too many to choose. Maybe Julietta Henderson. Lovely. She's so lovely. Trent Dalton and Maya Linnell. Faye just started reading The Dressmakers of Yarrandara Prison. People have really loved that book. Dixie, Rachel Johns, Lisa Island, Sally Hepworth, Fiona Palmer. Okay, she couldn't keep it to 3. That's 4. We'll let that go through. Veronica, T. Cooper, Darry Fraser. Yes, they're good ones. Carolyn, I saw Kate Atkinson at a couple of sessions at the Sydney Writers' Festival a few years ago. She was so interesting and just lovely. She's one of my favourite authors. Carolyn, I think that was when I had lunch with her. Helen likes Caroline Everington. Solari, Alita likes Solari Gentile, Matthew Riley and Jane Harper. I saw Solari at the Anita Heist launch. She was there in the audience, so I went and sat next to her. She's really lovely too. Julie is reading The Law of Innocence. Keisha, Trent Dalton, Anita Heist and Jane Harper are her favourite. Paveen says, hi, Paveen. Okay, I think we've got to go. There are so many there. Keep talking to each other. I'm going to keep reading the comments, but we really have run out of time. We've just gone over today. Thank you so much for joining me. I love this segment so much. Did I do everything I needed to do? I think so. Oh, I was going to say you need to vote. You need to vote for your favourite kids' book. Jump onto our website and vote. Now, if you vote, you go into the draw to win all of those books, okay? Now, listen, stay safe for all of those, for all of us. We need to stay safe. For all of us in lockdown, big virtual hug. Stay safe and stay sound. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Hopefully we'll get out of this one day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.